I just wanted to check something visually on my end, and I knew it was going to be risky, and indeed it broke everything. As they take flight up the pillars of stone and the two statues that rise up into the clouds. What was the last thing you heard me say?
Hopefully.
Yeah, as they're taking off.
I was saying, hopefully this doesn't crash the stream.
Hey, I kind of figured that's what you were going for, and then it did.
Yeah, you mentioned that they were, or I was getting a sense of amusement from them, kind of at our expense.
Yes.
Oh, and they were
And-
looking at us.
And
They were looking at us.
that comes as they're taking off, and you notice you don't see another way up as they take flight and circle and fly up toward the top of the tower. Everyone's leaving the stream
Understandable.
because they're like, well, I guess it broke. So you sense a certain amusement at your expense, in the context of, yeah, see you later. As they take off and fly up these tremendous pillars of stone and then vanish up in the clouds. It's kind of a cold, damp area up here. There's not a lot of foliage, but what there is dew covered. Jeremy and Danielle, you guys still there?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. It's giving me a warning sign over your character's head. Meanwhile, yeah, everyone who was watching the stream left because after we crashed. Oh well. This is a fascinating spot. Oh, good night, Danielle. Thanks for playing.
Good night.
Hi, Danielle.
Bella.
Yep.
This is a really interesting spot. You guys are making camp here. You realize that there is a kind of a protective, magical aura around the standing stones of this traveler's shrine near the base of White Ridge Tower. And there are old markings on the standing stones that make up this shrine. Some of the markings seem to show names of the travelers, perhaps who erected it in the first place. Some of the writings seem to be marking the location or old prayers to the cycle gods. And as you hunt through read the writings with a growing, it's very interesting from an academic perspective. You realize that hidden amongst the writings, some of the letters are magically marked. And when you put those letters together, it might spell a message.
Well, I'd like to copy that down.
Do you have some writing implements and paper?
Oh, yeah.
You do so. And you realize that in this ancient version of Common, from the time of the Veye Empire, so, French, fantasy French, it, which your character speaks, right? Just
Yes.
Yeah. It says, our old treasures here on the week of the feast day. Our old treasures here on the week of the feast day. So you pick out these words from the various writings, and it's spelled, if you put them all together and unscramble them, which you can do, writing on your piece of paper. You have a pretty good int score, so I'm not even going to make you roll for it. That's the message that it spells out.
Okay. I'll communicate that. Our old treasures here on the week of the feast day. But it doesn't say which feast day.
Well, that might ring a bell for Akiri when she hears you say that message.
Well, I mean, this week is George's feast week, I guess. I think it's like 2 days. Yeah, it's like 2 days until his feast day.
Okay. Well, we could try. We could. I don't. Our old treasures here.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to make a knowledge history check.
Okay. About what? Normally you would ask me a question and then I'd say make a check.
I'd like to make a knowledge history check on the phrase "our old treasures" in the Veye Empire. Well, that's a 28.
All right. You've read a little too much about this. Being a fan of romance novels from the time of the Veye Empire. And just the culture in general. There was a time, when you were growing up and attending the Arcane Eye college, that you just read these books and you became immersed in the culture, the old culture. And one of the big things of the Veye Empire's time was they had these very powerful tax collectors. And they would collect these massive amounts of treasure. They would travel around the Wildlands and collect these massive amounts of treasure. From the richer folks of the empire. It was a very rich empire. But every now and then, a tax collector would go rogue and try to keep the treasure for themselves. And you know that that the kind of joking term for this, because they were, they were taken from other people, so they were like secondhand things. So it was kind of this joke at the time that they would call these things old treasures. You also know from these old romance and adventure stories that there was so much magic available to people like this that they would, in fact, sometimes hide treasures so that they would only, even if like buried treasure wasn't enough, they would also enchant the spot so that the treasure could only be found during certain phases of the moon, let's say, or when there was a certain star in the sky.
Well, that's interesting. I'll communicate all that to everybody and say this might have been a hiding spot for, some tax collector's treasure way back in the days of the Vey Empire.
Well, I love treasure as much as the next guy, perhaps more than the next guy, and it pains me to say this, our current mission is probably too important to wait until this week that they're talking about.
I mean,
Unless it sounds like Akiri was saying that this week is the week that they're mentioning.
It might be. I mean, it says until the feast day, which is a pretty vague term, but there is a feast day this week, which,
You guys are having this conversation, by the way, by the light, or are you lighting a fire?
oh, absolutely. There's no reason not to. I don't think so. Okay, unless anyone else has a reason to not light.
I'm fine
fire.
with lighting a fire.
Okay. You're having this conversation by the light of the flickering fire that you have lit here at the top of the mountain. The flames wave in the wind that blows past. I didn't mean to interrupt. I was just trying to set the scene a little bit. But the magically marked words that Bella identified, as the moonlight touches them, they give off a bit of a glint on the various standing stones around your campsite. So this one says old, that one says treasure, in Old Vey common.
well, we could try. I mean, is there like a center to these standing stones that we can find?
Yeah, roll a d8. You kind of walk around and you've we'll blame Bref. Bref lit the campfire 2 feet from that spot.
Oh, okay. Well, we could try digging there. Or my other idea is that we dig under the one that says treasure.
And how many is there? A standing stone per word?
Yes.
A lot of stones.
Yeah, there's a number of standing stones around here that kind of form this shrine area. And there's like a flat space where maybe once offerings could have been put by travelers. if there's anything there, it's been it's disappeared by now. And every one of the standing stones has a different message on it. One of them has prayers. One of them has a list of travelers who came by, or some kind of calendar dates, and or talking about the cycle gods. But on each of these, there's like a word that glints in the moonlight as the lost one climbs, zigzagging into the sky. Which Bella has already gathered and translated and unscrambled.
Right. Well, I'm inclined to agree with you that the center is probably the best place to start. Do we are we okay just digging here? I know this is something of a sight for travelers.
I mean,
If we don't find anything, we can restore the earth to it.
Yeah.
I might break the stream
All right.
again here. One sec, I might break the stream.
Standing by.
No, we're good with that one, apparently.
Okay.
Continue.
Yeah, I know we're kind of in the mountains right now. Is what we're standing or what we're on, like, is it pretty, or like, is it stone or is it earthen?
I mean, it's mostly earth. I mean, it's rocky. These mountains are kind of stony in general.
Okay.
And there's stones scattered about that may have fallen long ago from the incredible spires and giant statues that rise up into the fog and clouds. Not far from where you guys have camped. So you're gonna dig?
I think so.
Do you have a shovel?
I do not. Does anybody else?
I have a crow. Oh, yep, I do have a shovel. Yes.
Well, that makes it a lot easier. It is dark, but you are digging only a couple of feet from the fire. And you dig down kind of in the center, or just off the center of where these stones lie. You have to every now and then stop your digging to pry a stone out. You're gonna get a foot down, 2 feet, 3 feet, 4 feet. It's getting to be a pretty big hole at that point. It's also getting fairly late. It's now fully dark. It's probably 8:30 or 9 at night. Do you want to keep going?
Bella, I think if there was anything here, we probably would have found it at this point.
Well, there's also always, I mean, this is from the Bay Empire. You know, there's always a possibility that we're not the first person to have noticed this. We could try digging under the treasure stone, which is my other idea, or we can give up and say whatever was here is probably gone a long time ago.
I'd be willing to check under the treasure stone. Won't take too long, but I don't want to give this more effort than it's worth.
I'm happy to trade off with you a bit, Bref, to make it go a bit faster.
Oh yeah, by all means. Share the load.
Our old treasures are here the week of the feast day.
Or do people feel more like treasure or here?
Here,
Did
actually.
you said one of the stones had a calendar on it?
Yes.
Is there anything special on that calendar the week of the feast day?
The standing stone that has the calendar on it, the word that is magically marked is the word week. The calendar that seems to be on it seems to be marking a a couple of times on the calendar long ago that perhaps a few centuries ago that some travelers came this way. They have marked dates, yes, during this time in Juurk, but also during a few days in Deremnon, and a few other dates scattered around the calendar. But the word that's magically marked on that stone is the word week.
Are there any other stones that have a calendar on them or that mention this particular week overall?
Well, there is...
I speak Vey common, so I can be looking around at this as well.
Okay. Not really, no.
Okay.
One of the stones mentions an old man and an old woman who came here as their last journey together. There's a stone that's the word old is marked on that stone. The stone that has the word feast on it has some stuff about the sword wing, the order of the sword wings, and Daisio fighting off a fiendish invasion. Nothing else that really is a calendar, no.
Okay.
The stone that has the word here says Quaker the Harbinger was here.
Can I make a knowledge history check on him?
Yeah? Oh my god. Wow. Natural 20.
Fear the bard and her ability to know things.
Fear the bard and her ability to know things. Quaker the Harbinger was a powerful, not an archmage, but a powerful mage in his day, in the time of the Vey Empire. He was a traveler. He was a swordwing for a while, but that wasn't his whole life. He was a merchant. He was an adventurer. He was a tax collector for the Vey Empire and a few other things. It's amazing that you happened to have read about this guy. He sounds like kind of like he did a lot of kind of like cool things in his lifetime and is known as a person kind of like what's his face, Drake in the real world, the explorer.
Oh, Sir Francis Drake,
Sir
not the
Francis-
rapper Drake.
Not the rapper Drake. No, like Sir Francis Drake. Just kind of like known as a man of action and adventure who did some impressive things in his day. And he was known as a powerful mage. And that fits with your whole tax collector theory.
Yeah, I'll communicate this to everybody, just as an interesting factoid.
Then perhaps the Here Stone is the right answer. Or you mentioned that they had a specific way to protect things so that they could only be accessed at certain times of the year or phases of the moon. Do you know if this was just a locking mechanism or if it was something else?
I'm not sure.
In the
It
adventure stories that you read, the treasures would be locked away on the plane of ghosts. Ghostly treasures that would only materialize, would only be accessible during a full moon or whatever. This was used to protect the secret love letters between Prince Tigra and Prince Koshar in one of the steamy stories that you read as a young girl in college.
All right. I'll share that. Yeah.
All right, then, yeah, I think we maybe spend some time trying to dig or at the stone that's marked here.
Okay.
I was hoping we might have a clue that could lead to something other than just it being buried in the ground, but seems like a reasonable place to check.
You dig by the side of the stone. Who is digging with the shovel?
I think Bapos and I are taking turns.
You guys are taking turns. Okay. Well, you're going to clear away. You've already dug 1 4-foot hole. It's now at night. You guys have probably been snacking on your rations. Don't forget to mark off a ration as you guys are taking turns digging. You're going to clear away the top layer of like looser stones and kind of topsoil. And then I'm going to ask you to make Constitution saving throws as you do this kind of manual labor after hiking up this tremendous mountain that I have described.
The 17 for Brad.
Okay.
And a 13 for Vapos.
Okay. You guys are working up a sweat, which is a little clammy here and as the cold clouds blow past. But neither of you is going to take exhaustion levels. You dig another foot down, and then you hit this layer of stones. Like rounded, almost like river stones, kind of different from the rocks that you've been digging up everywhere else. Kind of laid in a solid layer. So the shovel hits into all these rocks. Would you like to keep going?
This may be something. This does not look like the other stones we've encountered so far.
I'm inclined to agree. Let's go a little bit further.
All right. Is it still the two of you who are going to be doing this?
Vapos is fine to keep going.
All right.
Yeah.
So you guys start carrying stones out of the hole, tossing them away into the dark night, perhaps. You're gonna start making it. Progress is obviously a little more difficult now, but you're able to do it. I'm gonna ask for another Constitution saving throw, please. Maples with a 17. And Bref with a 27. Bref gets his second win, and he starts tossing the rocks out, all casual. Getting that kind of runner's or weightlifter's high as he just kind of feels good to do that kind of upper body exercise after all. And then you grab something that isn't a rock, but seems to be this chest encased in the rocks. Old, with the dirt kind of in the wood grain. And you try to shift it, and it's quite heavy. But when you move it, there's a clinking noise from inside.
I believe we found what we're looking for.
We have definitely struck proverbial hater.
There you go. So you are now a few feet down in a hole under the standing stone that says so-and-so was here.
Yep, we're gonna try to
Quaker the
get this
Harbinger.
thing out so we can get it up where we can properly open it.
All right. You start lifting the chest out of the hole, and the rounded stones kind of collapse. I need you to make a dexterity saving throw, both of you. As you're presumably working together to lift this heavy thing out. So there's a kind of a very simple trap that makes you twist your ankle and kind of collapse in from the pain as the rocks kind of tumble around and you lose your footing there, Bref. So it's only 2 damage, but it hurts.
Worth it.
Limping, you lift the heavy thing out and set it down on the ground. And it clinks. It's this heavy wooden chest with these old rope loops kind of for handles, and this big lock on the front, and metal caps at the corners, and reinforced with old rusty metal bands. Actually, not rusty. The metal bands are not rusty. And when you bring it out of the hole and set it down on the ground, you see this ethereal shimmer of magic across the metal bands that hold the chest.
Watch as we just found the fucking sword we're looking for. That would be funny.
Anyways. Nice job, guys. What is it? Do we have anyone who can find out what's it? Not anymore, I don't think.
Well, I can try to open it if you're concerned that it might be trapped. I can take it a bit of ways outside of the camp first.
That may be best, based on what Bella was saying about this individual. They don't seem to be the kind that trust others very easily.
All right,
Yeah, I
then.
agree with that.
All right. Does someone want to help me carry it away and then step back while I open it? It's a bit heavy.
Yeah,
Alright, so you guys lug it a little ways outside the camp. Now that you're away from the firelight, your eyes readjust to the moonlight and starlight. Go ahead and make a perception roll. Both of you have no dark vision, correct?
So for this, I'm gonna go ahead and activate Visage of the Elemental Self,
Okay.
so that I do have dark vision, as well as advantage on these kinds of checks.
Okay. Well, Bref, you have disadvantage. Sorry. Oh, my goodness.
I'm glad I did. That's a 23 for me.
Alright, so Bref, you have to do most of the lifting here, because you have the strength for it. So you set down the heavy chest, which, I mean, honestly, it's like 150 to 200 pounds. So, yeah, this is pretty serious to lug around. Vapos, you are looking up with your water mask, granting you dark vision. And now that you're away from the light of your own campfire, you can see figures up in the sky, weaving in and out of the clouds, turned silver by the moonlight, flapping their wings. Sword Wings on patrol.
Okay. I'll just mention that to Akiri.
He's gonna nod. It makes sense.
Mm-hmm. And then, yeah, once the chest is a little bit out of camp and Bref takes a few steps away, Vapos will open the chest, or try to.
Okay. You try to lift the lid, and the lock stops you.
Okay. Vapos is not particularly skilled at lockpicking, but actually, I guess I don't even have thieves' tools, so I'm not sure that I'd be able to try. Yeah, I'll just say to the rest of the group, it's locked. Seems pretty sturdy. I don't really have anything or any good tools for trying to pick it.
Yeah, I don't really have anything.
Yeah, I don't either.
Try just smashing it.
I feel like that might be a bad idea, but you can try it.
Vapos will uh, activate the arms elemental self as well, and will try to use them to uh, break the lock open as best as he can without damaging the chest itself.
Question, Vapors.
Alright.
And Max.
Yeah.
Could you, like, use those arms? Like, how liquid, how fluid are those things? How much control do you have over them? Because my thought is you could just use those arms to make thieves' tools.
Yeah, it's probably not that refined.
Uh,
But what I was thinking about, or that I might do, if I could, is combining this with Shape Water's ability to um, freeze or unfreeze water
Mm-hmm.
to basically push my watery arms or push some amount of water into the lock,
Mm-hmm.
freeze it, and then unfreeze it, and
Mhm.
just kind of keep doing that to weaken the lock before I try to smash it.
Radical. That'll add advantage on a break check.
Okay.
So I guess make a strength check.
All right.
Unless you tell me otherwise.
I mean, I use my wisdom for unarmed attacks with the arms of the elemental self. Would that apply for this, or would it still be strength?
This is more of a brute strength kind of thing.
Okay.
Freezing it and unfreezing it will help.
All right. That's a 12.
You make absolutely no mark upon the object. It does
Okay.
flash with a kind of a magical reaction when you try to break it.
Okay. I'll just go back to the group and kind of shake my head. I think this is going to take more force than I can bring to bear.
When
Okay,
you
I'm on it.
observe the... I'm sorry, go ahead, Bref.
I was going to take a swing at it.
Go for it. Attempt to break it.
To crack the lock, yes.
Alright, make a strength check, I guess.
Sorry, I made an attack roll. I'll make
you're
a
making
strength check
an attack
instead.
roll. Okay. You are attempting to attack it. So you smack it with 18 slashing damage, is what I'm reading.
Correct, yes.
All right. Bang! It makes this loud clanging noise. Vapos, you'll notice the flying figures react. And Bref, there's going to be another flash of magic. You scratched it. 18 points of damage was definitely not applied fully.
I think the sword wings up above, I think they just noticed that.
Who's trained in Arcana? Anyone?
I am.
Anyone who's proficient in Arcana, at this point you've seen enough experimentation and reaction from this thing. Go ahead and make an Arcana check. With advantage.
That's an 18.
This thing is arcane locked.
Oh, okay. Does anyone have Dispel Magic?
Oh, yeah. Okay, it's like I think I have that prepped on her. 1 second.
So Arcane Lock has a password. And it also makes it raises the DC to break or pick a lock or chest by 10. And it makes it much harder to break open.
Hey, yo, I got Dispel Magic. Do you want me to use it on here real quick?
You're going to use Dispel Magic on the chest?
Well, one
Or
second.
the lock, or...
1 second. What was the name of the guy who was here? Whose chest we think this might be?
You go
The
back
guy-
to the rock and reread it.
Yeah.
It was Quaker the Harbinger.
Alright, I'm going to try saying the word Quaker.
Where are you when you say it?
I'm going to go say it into the lock.
So you guys watch as Bella leans down and says, Quaker, to the lock. And it goes, boing! And the chest lid raises up as the lock pops open. And inside you see...
That is the worst password ever.
glittering treasure.
Oh, nice.
So there's these kind of layers of fine cloth that are keeping the various objects from banging into each other or rattling around too much. And yeah, there are several bags of coins. A big fat one of gold coins and a pretty big fat one of platinum coins. There's also a bag of gems. And kind of separated and individually wrapped in fine cloth, there are 3 items that glitter with magical auras. A ring, a wand, and a heavy mace. Congratulations, guys. You found some nice treasure.
Alright, you said a ring, a wand, and a heavy mace?
Uh-huh.
Cool.
I just had this really funny thought because I realized Akiri technically could use that mace. I'm not sure she'd be able to pick it up off the ground, but she is. She can use them.
Indeed. Akiri's gone this entire game without using a weapon.
Nah, she used her crossbow like twice.
Oh, okay.
So, Vapos is going to start trying to clean up the massive mess that we've made. Filling in the holes a little bit.
Okay. It's late now. Make another Constitution saving throw, please.
I'll help him do it.
You too. That'll make it go faster. All right. Well, you guys work hard, but working together, and with the second win that you have, you managed to fill in both holes. You know, you're gonna leave some scattered stones and dirt, like scattered around, because it'd be hard to clean everything up.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be perfect,
Okay. But you fill in the holes for the most part. So there's 2 like kind of mounds of freshly turned earth. It's now approximately, it's almost midnight. But you guys have a chest full of treasure.
Hooray!
Alright. That was very exciting, but as much as I would like to take full stock of what we got there, I'm starting to get pretty tired here. Perhaps it's time to get some rest and we can go over the loot in the morning?
Yeah, I agree.
All right. You guys bed down for the evening.
Oh, before Kiri goes to sleep, she's going to send up a quick little prayer to Juwerk. And actually, wait, hold on.
Holding.
She doesn't have. I was gonna be like, she would want to use commune, but she doesn't have dub at the moment, so we can save that for tomorrow morning. But she would like to give Juwerk a quick little prayer. Well, not like a quick little prayer, but like she's gonna send a prayer up to Juwerk and ask that A, he keep Alarka safe, and B, please give her some indication or direction of where she can find her. She's worried about her.
Roll a d100 and add your cleric level.
It'd be
Whoa.
over 100.
So you guys have set up your standard bedrolls, tents. You've built up some scattered dry brush and wood to keep the fire burning over the night. You've eaten your dinner. You've dug. You're dirty, but you're ready for some well-earned rest. Before going to sleep, Akiri, where are you doing this prayer, and what have you guys done with the chest?
Akiri is doing this just like in her bedroll or something, just like before she goes to sleep.
She's in her bedroll and she whispers a prayer to Juwerk into her pillow.
Mm-hmm.
And what have you guys done with the chest?
I imagine we probably put the bags and stuff like in the bag of holding.
Okay, so you emptied it out.
I think so. I mean, if it was all if it was cataloged nicely, like if it was pooled with, like if there were coins spilling out everywhere, that would be one thing. But the way you said it made it sound like it was pretty neatly organized.
It actually was, yeah.
So yeah, I think we could do that pretty quickly, and then.
Okay.
And then I imagine whoever is on watch at any given point would sit with it nearby.
Who's on first watch?
Mavra.
Okay.
Just volunteering her.
Okay. Mavra notices a wind come over the mountain and a smell of flowers and rich dark wine. And the wind seems to center and blow around Akiri, where she lies in her bedroll. Akiri, a voice speaks to you. You feel its reverberations deep in your heart. Of course, Akiri. watch over all those who pray to me. I appreciate that your prayer is not for yourself, nor even for your companions, but for one that you care for only through dreams and a shared belief. You have been drinking deeply of life, as I asked you to, and that makes me glad. The wind blows past, tugging playfully at the corners of your bedroll. Akiri, Alarka has not been captured yet. They haven't discovered her, whoever her enemies are. But I cannot see them. I can see you, and I can see her. But the enemy is hidden from my sight. Akiri, I sense that you have recently discovered more than mortals were meant to know. I am not angry, but worried. Beware knowledge that was not meant for you, because it can destroy you. To answer your second prayer, Akiri, little one. The priestess that watches the stars will come to you just before dawn. I suggest you offer her some tea, if you have any. Sleep well, little one. Drink deep of dreams. And waken just in time to meet her. Refreshed and whole. The wind passes on, seeming to dance amongst the wildflowers as it rushes by. Mavra, watching this, her eyes wide, not hearing the voice, but only seeing the passing of some presence as it moves on. Akiri, is there anything else you'd like to do? You feel very heavy in a good way, very sleepy, as though you'd taken a draft of some of your favorite drink.
She's gonna mumble out to everyone and say, "Oh, I'll take last watch, guys, okay?" Oh, asleep.
I don't think we should let her take that watch.
Who's on second watch? Because Mavra's, after that, passes fairly uneventfully. Although she will notice the flying figures coming lower out of the clouds. Who's on second watch?
Vapos will take the next watch.
Vapos, on second watch, you notice the patrols flying lower and lower each time. Go ahead and make a perception roll. Okay. Who did we lose? Bref? We lost you from Roll20. Oh, you're back.
Weird.
What's your total? Your total is 6?
Yeah,
Okay. Because a 1 isn't an auto-fail.
right.
As we have had reason to be reminded recently. Okay. Vapos, you're going to turn around just in time to see an armed and armored Aarakocra taking off from his perch on the empty chest, flapping up into the night. You hear some muttered conversation, but the wind catches it up in the air as he rejoins the rest of the patrol.
Okay. I'll be a little bit startled at that, but we'll just kind of wave to him if he wants to come back down to talk.
Okay. They don't wave back, but they don't leave either.
Okay.
They seem to take a perch maybe halfway up one of the stone spires that accompanies the tremendous statues. And keep an eye on you guys. Toward the end of your watch, they're going to be replaced by others also keeping a watch on you.
Okay.
Akiri. Or are you going to wake Akiri for third watch? Vapos?
Yeah, I mean, if we didn't have a plan for somebody else to do it, then yeah, I will.
Akiri, you've had 8 hours of sleep. A deep, deep sleep. And you awaken refreshed, feeling wonderful. You have an additional spell slot available at your highest level. You also regained all of your hit dice. And as you take up your watch, Akiri, go ahead and make a perception roll.
She's also going to rustle around in their bags quietly and see if she can find some tea she can start.
Does anyone have any written down?
Vapos does not.
Okay.
Nope.
You're not finding any tea, unfortunately. I bet Bliss had some.
He probably
I
would.
know Bliss had some.
He's like, I have incense and other things, but no tea. Why don't I have tea?
You never bought any.
No, she's like mentally kicking herself because she doesn't have fucking tea.
Well, there you go. You're going to notice the patrol take off. And just before dawn, you're going to spot, coming up the pathway, a hooded figure that seems a bit familiar to you.
As soon as Akiri notices her, she's going to stand up and watch. Wings all twitching and excitedly because, oh boy.
The hooded figure, as she gets closer, coming up the switchbacks up the mountain, is kind of, trudging along. You can see, as she gets closer, that she has wings folded. But she's choosing not to fly, to climb instead up the steep switchbacks of the mountain.
Yeah, Carrie is not very patient at the moment, so she's going to fly down and meet her in the middle somewhere.
As you approach, she pauses and looks up, somewhat startled. And you see, well, this is not her in a hood, but underneath her kind of cape and cloak, Peacock Aarakocra, female.
Yeah.
I have been saving this token since
For 4 years!
literally 4 years, since the beginning of this campaign.
Fantastic.
And she looks up startled and she says, "What?" She says, "The curled."
Carrie is gonna say, are you Alorca?
I am.
Akiri is practically exploding at the seams from excitement at the moment.
You're gonna land in front of her?
Mm-hmm. She's just so excited.
I am.
Oh, I can't believe I'm finally gonna meet you.
She
Oh my
looks up.
goodness, we've been trying to find you for so long.
She looks up. And then her expression changes. She pulls her hood back over her face. No! Akiri, as the Bard of Astrology glances at the stars, which have not quite faded in the sky, just before dawn. The entire sky seems to darken as the clouds swirl faster, and a rumble of thunder, not from the clouds, but from the ground beneath your talons. And like plants, like horrible plants bursting forth from the ground, come long, rubbery, black tentacles around you and Alarka. And that's where we're going to end tonight's session. Thank you very much for playing.
Well then.
Whew!
That's crazy.
All right. I know it's very late for some of you folks on the east and the middle coast. So I will wrap this up quick. Don't forget, you do get your 100 per experience points per level for traveling. You got a bunch of treasure, thousands of gold and platinum pieces. We will, as well as in gems. We'll pick that up next time. Thank you for watching, Taladar. Thank you to anyone else who watches this. Thank you for the folks who, young Midoriya, who followed 4 days ago. You are all awesome people. Thank you very much to anyone who watches us later as well. You are a super cool person. Thank you to Jeremy, player of Breath the Barbarian. Thank you to M, player of Akiri the Cleric. Thank you to Kirsten, player of Bella the Bard. Thank you to Corey, player of Vapos the Monk. And a big thank you to Danielle, who always has to leave early, player of Mavra the Fighter. I can't wait for next week, guys. Good night. And thanks, everybody. Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Nice.